Hi, Alan Stratton from Woodturns. This week contained National Pumpkin Day. Now, why it has to be a pumpkin day, I don't know. I thought that Halloween was, if anything, National Pumpkin Day. In any case, we were visiting my daughter-in-law, and she had made a pumpkin out of canning jar rings. And we saw that and said, can we make that out of wood? Well, it turned out to be a little bit harder than we thought, but still, it is an interesting stylized pumpkin. Rings are of padauk with a cedar stem. I think it turned out nice. I'll show you how you do it.
With so many rings, I decided I did not want to have to measure each ring individually. And since precision is not required, I used my computer to draw and print paper templates. Now I'm using spray rubber cement to attach the templates to a padauk board. Then I'll bandsaw the circle as close to the line as practical. After the rings are cut out, I'm taking them one by one. I'm mounting the ring to the face of my scroll chuck with tailstock pressure. Then, using a small gouge, I'm rounding each ring. I did not sand the edge because I thought it would be easier after tapering the ring. However, in retrospect, I should have done it now. With the rings rounded, they now fit my standard scroll chuck jaws. I've cut a slightly smaller disc from hardboard to insert between the jaw base and the ring. A strip cut from a milk jug wrapped around the perimeter protects the outer perimeter. I considered using a Forstner bit, but I don't have a 2.5-inch bit, and drilling with a bit that large is a very slow process. Instead, I'm using a parting tool to cut out the middle. I have to make about 3 parallel cuts to have enough clearance to cut completely through the ring. Then I cleaned up the rings with a square carbide cutter. The hardboard protects the chuck. The next task is to taper each ring. I had planned another process, but it did not work. Instead, I took each disc to a stationary disc sander and sanded the taper. Now I need to clean up the taper and sand each ring individually. I used a guide made from scrap hardboard to apply the ring to my long-nosed jaws so that the front face was perpendicular to the turning axis and inset about 1/8 inch. At least that was the plan. It did get fairly close, enough that I could sand the face and outer perimeter. After sanding up through the grits, I finished each ring with shellac friction polish. I have not done so much sanding in a very long time. I'm tying the rings together with 18-gauge copper wire. Each ring gets a loop and a twist at the smallest part of the ring. With the taper, this gets awkward after several rings, but I managed to get all 12 rings tied together and complete the circle. I could use more practice at the wire wrapping process. Next, I need to turn a stem to fit the pumpkin. I grabbed a piece of cedar for a lighter tone to contrast with the padauk. Next, I cut one end to fit the top of the pumpkin. Once that fit, I cut a stylized stem. It's not fancy, since the focus of this piece is the pumpkin body. After an initial sanding, I sanded the bottom, then finished sanding and parted off the stem. After a little touch-up sanding at the tip, I applied shellac friction polish, then buffed the stem. A couple of holes drilled through the lower portion of the stem enable it to be wired to the pumpkin body. And my stylized pumpkin is finished, just in time for Halloween. But I don't think I'll carve a face into this one. He's just too nice the way he is. Plus, I can leave him out through Thanksgiving and maybe until Christmas. I think he's kind of cute, but he sure charged a high price with all the detailed sanding he required. I'll have to improve my sanding options before I make another one of these. We'll see you again next week for another wood turning video. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and tell your friends. Always wear your full face shield. Goggles are not enough. Until next week, this is Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns. Let's keep on turning.